All right. So the topic for today is statistics. And statistics is question 5 in the CSEC past paper, as well as it comes in the multiple choice. You all have seen how the multiple choice comes. They ask you to find the interquartile. They ask you to find the number of students. They ask you for the mode. All of that belong to the topic of statistics. So, statistics. Measures of central tendency. I am sure that at some point you all met that word, central tendency. Central tendency means that there are 3 statistical averages. The mean, which is called the arithmetic average, the mode, which is the most frequent measure, and the median, which is the middle measure. So we are familiar with the 3 statistical averages or the 3 measures of central tendency. So if they were to ask you for any of the statistical averages or the measures of central tendency, they are referring to the mean, mode, and median, right? So the 3 measures of statistical averages or central tendency is what we call the mean, mode, and median. So let us start. The mean is the arithmetic average. Remember, if we are finding the average of a set of marks, or those of you who met the word mean when you did your mathematics SBA regarding the heights. So we did find the mean height, we did find the mode, and we did find the median. So we are going to calculate the measures of central tendency from ungrouped data. So that is the first aspect of statistics we are going to touch on. The mean is the set of a set of data is the average. What do I mean by the word average? You simply add up the numbers and then divide by how many numbers there are. And this is the formula. So here's what we are doing. If there are 30 heights of students in a class, you are simply going to add the heights of these students and divide by how many. How many is the number. So like, for example, 30 students, so you divide by 30. So the mean is the average of a set of numbers. You simply add the numbers and divide by how many numbers there are. So in a few minutes, I will stop and I will tell you exactly what to write. So bear with me for a few minutes. The mode. The mode of a set of numbers is selected by the score that occurs most frequent. Well, what does that mean? Well, we are looking at the data, right? If a number repeats and it repeats more than another number, this number in particular is called the mode. If there is no score that repeats, then there is no mode. If there are 2 scores which have the greatest frequency, then the distribution is called bimodal because it has 2 modes. So for example, if we have a set of data, for us to choose the mode, it means that the number must be repeated. It must be repeated as many times compared to the other numbers. If we have 2 numbers that have the same number of repeats, then that distribution is called bimodal, meaning that there are 2 modes. The median now. The median is the middle. We are accustomed hearing with that term, the middle value. But what we need to remember is that the scores need to be arranged in a particular order. You either arrange them from smallest to biggest. This is what we call ascending, or from the biggest number to the smallest is what we call descending. What I want you to remember, if the number of scores is even, the median is the middle of the 2 scores. We will see that in a few minutes. And if the number of scores is odd, the median is exactly in the middle of the list, meaning that there's one value, right, where there is a set of numbers to the right and a set of numbers to the left, and it's the same amount. So if we have 9 values, let me show you what I mean. If we have 9 values, let's just write some random numbers. This is an odd set of data because 9 is odd. So if I had to find the median, I will choose 5. I have 4 numbers to the left and I have 4 numbers to the right. So the median here is 5 because it is exactly the middle of the data. There are a same amount of data on the left of 5 and the same amount of data on the right. So let's make it a little more interesting. Let's go with 10 numbers. So we want to find the median when we start crossing. Here now, there are 2 numbers. 2 numbers in the middle, so I cannot identify exactly one value. So here, the median is the middle of the 2 middle scores, or the mean. So 5 plus 6 over 2, which is 5.5. So the median will be 5.5. So that is something we should know. If there's an odd set of data, the median lies exactly in the data set. And if there's an even set of data, it simply means we have to find the mean, which is the average of the 2 middle values. All right, so let's continue. The quartiles. The quartiles divide the set into 4 parts. Q1 is the lower quartile, Q2 is the median, and Q3 is called the upper quartile. So we have a set of data and we have quartiles, meaning a quarter, meaning a half, meaning 3/4. So if we have some data here, before I go to the quartile, let me give you the chance to write, all right? So here's what you're writing for me. You are writing very quickly everything that I underline. In statistics, there are 3 types of averages: the mean, the mode, and the median. What I don't underline is you don't write that because that is supplementary notes that I will send. You're writing the mean, you're writing add the numbers, then divide by how many. You're writing this. Then we have the mode, and you're writing the mode is the one that occurs most frequently. Then we have the median, which is the middle value when the scores are arranged in ascending or descending. So go ahead. Everything that I have underlined, you all have to write it in your book. Quickly. Can you all read it, or is the font too small? Can you all read the notes properly?
Yes, miss.
Yeah, miss.
We know when you all are finished.
Finish, miss.
Is anyone still writing? Is anyone still writing? All right, let's continue. So you're writing for me now, this part, the quartiles. The quartiles divide into 4, write everything in. And then we will go to the example. Now remember that this data or this set of data is ungrouped, meaning that it is raw data and it hasn't been arranged or organized in any way. Okay? All right, are we finished?
Yes, miss.
All right, so I want you to take down this question for me. I want you to find the mean, the median, and the mode. Go ahead. Let me know when you are finished. Are you all finished?
Yes, miss.
All right, let's go. So somebody tell me, how are we going about finding the mean? What do we do?
Add all and then divide it by the amount.
Yes, so we're going to add all and divide it by the amount. So the mean is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 11 divided by, now how much am I going to divide by? How many numbers do I have in the distribution?
9.
9. What is the sum? When we added all the numbers, how much did we get? 36? What is the sum of these numbers? What is the sum of the numbers in the distribution?
Miss, I got 45.
45. All right, let me check it. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 11. 45. Did anybody else get 45?
Yeah, miss.
Yes,
All right.
miss.
How many times could 9 go into 45?
5.
5. Now, not all the time it works out perfectly. If it doesn't work out as perfect as a whole number, you have to write it to 2 decimal places, okay? So keep in mind, not all the time the mean works out perfectly. Sometimes we have to write it correct to 2 decimal places. Now, let's go with the median now. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9. Is it an odd set of data or even set of data? Which one is it? How many numbers do we have? We have 9. Do we consider that an odd or even?
Odd.
Odd. So it means that the middle value would lie exactly. There's no need to find the average. One, two, three. I missed out a number. 11. The median is 4. Did you all get that?
Yes, miss.
Yeah, miss.
Now, if the number was not arranged in numerical order, meaning from smallest to biggest, you have to arrange the numbers first before finding the median. Failure to arrange it in order will mean that you will get a wrong value for the median. Now, what is the mode?
3.
3. Why 3, Jordan? How many times does 3 occur?
Twice.
Twice. And 3 is the only number that is repeated. Did you all get that?
Yes, miss.
Right. So if CXC decides to bring some raw data for you, meaning that data that hasn't been arranged, then you can find the mean, mode, and median, right? Let's go to the range and the quartiles now. Now, I gave you the notes on the quartile just now. The quartile separates the data into 4 parts. So here we have 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts. That is what the data means. So if I listed the numbers, so let's write back the numbers. Write the numbers for me in a straight line. Write the numbers in a straight line, like how I have it here. Are we ready? Do you all have the numbers written in a straight line? All right, so we identified 4 as the median. So write that. And underneath that, write Q2. All right, are we finished?
Yes, miss.
Right, so we want to find the lower quartile, right? So we already have that. So if we cross this number and cross this, the lower quartile will be the average here. So the lower quartile Q1 is 2 plus 3 divided by 2, which is 2.5. Write down that and find for me the upper quartile. All right, do we have the upper quartile now? What is the upper quartile? Q3, so this is 7 plus 9 divided by 2, which is 8. Did you all get that?
Yes, miss.
Now, sometimes we are expected to find what we call the interquartile range. So we go in one step further. Since we already have the data, let's do it one time. The interquartile range is the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So work it out for me. And the semi-interquartile range is half of the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So work out those two values for me. All right, we have some values. What is the interquartile range? What is the interquartile range? Did anybody get a
Five
value?
and a half.
Yes. So 8 minus 2.5 is 5.5. And the semi-interquartile range will be half of 5.5. And the answer is 2.75. Did you all get that?
Yes, miss.
Very good. So I hope that you have some clarity with regards to the median, with regards to a raw set of data that hasn't been organized, right? And I do hope that you understand how the quartiles separates the distribution or the data into 4 parts, meaning that the median, we have a middle value, the data is split into 2. The quartiles now separates the distribution into 4. So we have a lower quartile and we have an upper quartile. So let's write some roots. Oh, on the range too. Let's write this. So everything that I underline, you have to write it. You can write the interquartile range and you can write the formula. Are we finished writing?
Yes, miss.
All right. So everybody knows, so in the data set, let's find the range and we move on. So in the data set here, find the range for me. All right, what is the range? What is the range? What is the highest value and what is the lowest value? What is the highest value in the data set and what is the lowest
Is the
value?
range is 10?
The range is 10, 11 minus 1, 10. Did you all get that? Did you all get that for the range? Did anybody else besides Jordan get 10 for the range?
Yes, miss.
All right, so we know how to find the median, we know how to find the mean, we know how to find the mode, we know how to find the interquartile range, we know how to find the semi-interquartile, and we know how to find the range of the data. Now we are going forward. I want to emphasize that what we did just now, that is for on-group data or raw data, data that hasn't been arranged in any particular order. All right, now I know that your booklet does not contain January 2018. So I have put it in the form of a worksheet in the module as well. So we are going to take a few minutes. I would like you to read the question carefully, and you are finding for me the range, the median, the interquartile range, and the probability that a student chosen at random scores less than half the total marks in the test. So I'll give you a few minutes and you try it for me, please. All right. we finished? Are we finished? Are we finished with the question?
Yeah, miss.
I thought you all fell asleep. So the first thing I want to do is to arrange the numbers in numerical order. So it helps when we cross out the numbers so we know that we didn't repeat any number. So the smallest number is 26. Then we have 29, 31, 35, 37, 38, 38, 38, 42, and 45. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, I will circle the largest number and I will circle the smallest number. So the range is the highest value minus the lowest value. So 45 minus 26 is 19. Did you all get it?
Yes, miss.
So
Yeah, miss.
we want to find the median. So is this an odd data set or even data set? It's 10 scores. Is that considered odd or even?
Even.
Even. So it means that the middle value would be the average of two middle values, right? So we start crossing. So the median is the average of 37 plus 38 divided by 2. This is 37.5. Do you have that?
Yes, miss.
Very good. So we're making some progress. We got the range correct. We have the median. Now let's look at the IQR, which is the interquartile range. Now, writing back the data. We have the median. We need to find the lower quartile. So to find the lower quartile, I have 31. This is the lower quartile, which is Q1. Do you all have that? Do you all have that as a lower quartile?
Yeah, miss.
So let us do the same thing. Remember, The median already splits the data into two. So now we have to find the middle of the lower set or the middle of the higher set of values. So we already have the median. So here now is called the upper quartile or Q3. And the interquartile range Q3 minus Q1 is 38 minus 31, which is 7. Did you all get that? Did anybody get that?
Yeah, miss.
We want the probability that a student chosen at random scores less than half. No, less than half. How much is half of 60? How much is half of 60? Right. How many scores are less than 30?
Two.
2, and those are 26 and 29. So 2 scores out of 10 are less than 30. So the probability that a score X is less than 30 is 2 out of 10, which is 1/5. Do you all understand that?
Yeah, miss.
All right. Any questions so far? Any questions so far?
No, miss.
All right, so let's continue. So be clear as to what is the mean, what is the mode, what is the median. We are clear as to what is the interquartile, what is the semi-interquartile, what is the upper quartile, what is the lower quartile, and what is the range. Are we okay so far?
Yes, miss.
Let's go. Now, displaying data. Sometimes we have to display data on a pie chart, on a histogram, on a cumulative frequency curve, right? So there are different methods of displaying data. The first type of illustration that we are going to use is the pie chart. So a pie chart uses pie slices to show relative size of data. The table below shows the result of a group of friends to find out which movie they like best. So we are going to draw a pie chart and we are going to draw a bar graph this morning. So the favorite type of movies are comedies, action, romance, drama, and sci-fi. The total number of friends is what we have to find first. 4 plus 5 plus 6. So 4 plus 5 is 9 and 1 10. And 6 and 4 is 10. So in our distribution, we have 20 friends. 4 of the friends like comedy. So sometimes we are expected to work out percentages. So I want you to work out the percentages of students who like comedy, action, romance, drama, and sci-fi. So something wrong here, that's not. 4, 5, 6. Right? This is supposed to be drama is 1. So take out this line here. And this is supposed to be sci-fi. So there's a typo there. So work out for me the percentage who like comedy. So 4 out of 20 multiplied by 100. Work out the percentage who like action, romance, drama, and sci-fi. So you can take down the table, write this for me, and calculate it, please. Thank you. Are we finished? Are we finished? Is anyone still writing?
No mess.
All right, let's see what you have. So 4 divided by 20, I have 20%. For the percentage of persons who like comedy, I got 20%. Do you all have that?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Action, 25%. Romance, 30%. Drama, 5%. And sci-fi, 20%. Can you tally these numbers to make sure that we have 100? Can someone just tally the numbers quickly?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, I have noticed that they like to bring percentages. So that is why I'm doing it using percentages. I will show you how to do it using the sector angles as well. Now, we have to draw a pie chart. And we know a pie chart is circular, just like a pizza. And in the pie chart, there are sectors, just like a pizza slice. So how am I going to represent comedy? That's 20% of this pie chart now. Well, comedy is 20% of 360 degrees. Action is 25% of 360 degrees. Romance is 30% of 360 degrees. Drama is 1% not 1%, 5%. 5%, 5 over 100 by 360. And sci-fi, 20 over 100 by 360. All right, so when you find the sector angles, make sure that the sum of the sector angles is 360. So go ahead, work it out for you.
Finish, miss.
All right, let's go. 20% of 360, I have 72 degrees. 25% of 360, I have 90 degrees. 30% of 360, 108 degrees. 5% of 360, 18 degrees. And 20% of 360, 72. So 72 plus 72 plus 90 plus 108 plus 18. This will give me 360. Do you all have that?
Yes, miss.
Yeah, miss.
Right. So do you all have something to draw a circle? The compass and the protractor. We need that. Do you all have that? Or something to draw a circle. Let us draw the circle radius 2.5 centimeters. So draw a circle that's 2.5 centimeters. And you're drawing a straight line showing the radius. This is 2.5 centimeters. Go ahead. Let me know when you all are finished with that.
Finish, miss.
Right. So right. So we have the semicircle. Do you all have this? If you don't have it, please go and get it. So this is called a protractor. And this is much larger than the one that you have. What I want to identify, this line that runs through the middle here is what we call the baseline. So when you have two measure angles, you line up the baseline on one of the lines to measure the angle. So this is called a protractor, and it is used for measuring angles. And as you can see, there's an internal scale that runs from 0 to 180 degrees, and there's an out or external scale that also runs from 0 to 180. In addition to that, a straight line has 180. So this is what it represents as a straight line. When I ask you the sum of the angles on a straight line, how many degrees are there? Now, the first one I want to draw is action, which is 90 degrees. So I'm going to line up my center here, which is the bubble on your protractor, and you are going to line up the baseline so it falls directly on the radius 2.5 that you have. Notice the position of 90 degrees. It is perpendicular. So 90 degrees here on either scale meets at the same point. So I am going to line up my protractor, and at exactly 90 degrees, I'm going to put a mark and draw a line. So the first one we're going to draw is action, which is 90 degrees, because we know that 90 degrees is a right angle. So line up your baseline and the bubble on the radius and draw a marker that's 90 degrees on the circle. So 90 degrees will be somewhere around here, and that will meet that line exactly at 90 degrees at a right angle. So here is 90 degrees, and this represents action, which is 90 degrees. So go ahead. That's the first part. My line is a little bit bent, so I could draw it. So that's a 90 degrees. So we have action. So we have 90 degrees. We can draw the 18 degrees now. So this line here now becomes my baseline. So you may want to turn it like this and measure 18 degrees, or you could turn it like this. Line it up so that you can get 18 degrees. So if you notice, each division is one marker on my protractor. I'm not too sure how much it is on yours, but you can go ahead and measure 18 degrees. So I will say this is roughly about that. This here is drama, and this is 18 degrees. So I have drama and I have action, which is 90 degrees. So now this becomes my baseline. I'm going to measure 108, that's romance. So you know 108 is more than 90, so it is relatively about here. So this is what we call an obtuse angle, right? So 108 I will say this is roughly 108. And this is romance. And this one will split it into 272 degrees. One for comedy. And the next one for sci-fi. Now your pie chart doesn't have to look exactly like mine. It could even look like this one that I have. So notice that my one has angles here. This one on the screen has percentages, which is the same thing because we know the right angle, 25 degrees was action. So I can write action here, and action represents 90 degrees. 20 degrees was comedy, and this was 72 degrees. Sci-fi as well was 72 degrees. 5 was drama. So this is drama. And this is 18 degrees. And the large part, romance, is 108 degrees. All right. So the pie chart shows the different types of movies. So whether CXC asks you to draw the sector angles or whether they ask you to do it in percentages, you're supposed to be able to do it like that. And the sum of the angles in a circle is 360 degrees. So sometimes they start the circle for you and you are expected to complete it. There's a question where they ask you to draw the circle for the number of mobile phones using Wiretech and Digilec. I am sure that you all met that some time ago. So the next part we are going to do is the bar graph, but before we do that, I need to give you a break. So it is 11:31. you all take a break and come back at 11:45. Is that okay?
Yes.
Right? So sometimes we are asked to find out how many persons are there in the survey. When that happens, we just find the sum of the heights of the bars, because the bars represents the different categories and the height of the bar tells us how many persons are in that category. So for comedy, we have 4 persons, action 5, romance 6, drama 1, and sci-fi. So I'm not going to allow you to draw the bar chart. We want to move on to a histogram, and they rarely bring the bar chart. It mostly comes in the multiple choice. So when I send my notes, you will have that. So I'm not going to go into no detail in that. What I am interested in is the histogram. Histograms are a great way of showing continuous data, such as weight, height, time. The horizontal axis is a continuous number line. So the horizontal axis may start from 0 and it may go in intervals of 10, right? This is just an example. So the horizontal axis is what we represent as a continuous number line. Now, measures of central tendency, we know it's the mean, mode, and median, right? Also, we did the mean, mode, and median already. Right. So, when we have data and we have to find the mean, mode, and median, we have to expand our table. So this is what we call grouped data, data that is grouped in intervals. And these are the types of questions that CXC likes to bring. So let us start with class width, intervals, and we'll go straight into the mean, mode, and median. When data values are spread out, it is difficult to set up a frequency table for every value. So if you have numbers from 0 to 100, you cannot draw a table with so many rows in it. That becomes a little bit too time consuming, and the data is not so meaningful when you put them at single values, meaning when you don't group it. So when we have large values, we need to group the data. So we group the data into class intervals or groups, and this helps us to organize, interpret, and analyze the data. The values are grouped into intervals or classes that have the same width. Just like the bar chart, the widths are the same. Each class is assigned its corresponding frequency. Now, let me give you an example. So in my table here, I have the number 6 and 10. So that is my first value. Before I do this, I should ask you to do the table. All right, so you're writing for me, let me see, histogram. All right, here what to do. This is write the word histogram. To write any of this as yet. Write the example and draw the table and fill out the frequencies for me. So I should have had a tally interval. This is mid interval. So let us change the mid interval to tally. So 17, you're crossing that, you're putting 1 here. 31, you're crossing that, you're putting 1 here. 23, you're crossing that, putting 1 here. 27, you're crossing that, you put in 1 until all the numbers are crossed out. When you have 4 strokes and you need to put the 5th one, you write it as that. This represents 5. So we don't draw 5 straight lines. It's 4 and 1 across. That represents a tally of 5. So go ahead. Let me know when you want to finish with the table, please. Are you all finished with the table? All right, did you all get those values there? Did you get 0, 2, 4, 8, 14, 6, 14, 2? Did you all get that? 0, 2, 4, 8, 14, 6, 4, and 2? Did you all get those values for the frequency or for the tally? Did you all get those values? Are you all there? Did you all get those values for the tally? All right, let's go. So for each class interval, let's use 6 and 10. So let's write for each class interval, we have 2 limits. Example, 6 to 10, 6 is called the lower class limit, and 10 is called the upper class limit. So write that for me. Let me know when you finish writing, please.
Finish, miss.
All right. So we have the class width now. So write this. This was 1. This is 2. So the class width is the upper class limit minus the lower class limit. Just write this. 3 now, the mid interval or the midpoint. It is the lower class limit plus the upper class limit divided by 2. 4, the class boundaries, and you can take down this 3. Let me know when you want to finish writing.
Finish, miss.
All right, is anyone still writing? All right, so we're going back to the table. I want you to find for me now, so you're extending the table and you're drawing 2 columns. I want to see the mid-interval value and I want to see f of x. So extend the table for me by 2 columns and the mid-interval. So the first one, 6 plus 10 divided by 2, 16 divided by 2 is 8. And f of x, 8 multiplied by 0 is 8. So go ahead and complete the table for me. When you are finished, I want you to tally the frequency column and the f of x column for me. All right, did you all get those values?
Yes, miss.
All
Yes,
right.
miss.
All right, so let's continue. So I want to point out something. For the mid-interval value, we use those values when we have a grouped frequency, when we have grouped intervals. Remember, when we are finding f of x, I don't know what value to choose between 6 and 10. I could choose 6, right? Josiah could use 7, Brittany could use 8, Shivana could use 9, Ricardo could use 10. So everybody may have a different value to use. So that is where the mid-interval value comes in. This is a interval, meaning that different numbers lie into that interval. We have 6 all the way to 10. So the mid-interval value comes in when we have group data. And to find it, we take the lower class limit, which is the low value, and we add it to the upper class limit, which is the higher value, and we find the average of those two. Then we go ahead to find the f of x. So we're going again. We want to find the class width. So let's find the class width. So I have the upper limit of a particular class. 10 minus 6 is 4. Just now, right? The upper and lower limit. For the class with, we will do the class with just now. So we will do the class with just now. So we have the length of the ribbon. We have all the columns here. Let us go to find the mean now. So I want to point out this set of data is grouped. It is arranged in intervals. It is different from the first set of data that we met early on. This is not raw data. Well, it was raw data, but we group it in intervals. So the formula for the mean is the sum. This E means the sum of f of x divided by the sum of the frequency. We already did that. So write for me in your book, calculating the measures of central tendency from group data. That is important. Write the mean, take down this formula, and using the values that you got in the table, work out the mean for me. Tell me what value you all got. It was 1110 over 40. Anybody with a value?
$27.75.
Yes, 27.75. Who could confirm this answer?
Yes,
Yes,
miss.
miss.
All right, so I'm not going to the median and the mode because we did a lot of work today and I don't want to confuse you. The median requires me going into further explanation. So what we did today, we started statistics, we looked at ungrouped data and we looked at group data, right? I showed you the different terms. All of these notes that we did today, I will send it for you, but there are some fine tuning where I want to change up some things. So as soon as it's ready, I will send it for you. Our next class is on Friday at 4:30 p.m. Is everybody in agreement with that?
Yeah, miss.
All right. So thank you so much for joining me. You all enjoy the rest of the festivities for today. And for those of you all who are celebrating Eid, well, a happy Eid to you and your family. So I will see you guys on Friday at 4:30, okay?
Yes, miss.
Okay, bye, miss.
Bye.